Hello, Dr. Grissom. This is Timothy Allec and Vincent Melara submitting our Project 1 weather app. So as you can see here, we have City Riverside, the current temperature, and then the last synced time. And if I were to press this button, it'll update immediately between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And then it grabs the current time, which is 9:53. And then right here, it also shows 9:53. And anytime I press this, it'll update live. So it immediately sends another HTTP request to update the time and also Celsius. And then here we have 92504. So that is the convert back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius both ways. The timestamp on the home screen using NTP client. And then here's our additional screen where we can manually select each 5-digit zip code. So we have all 5 digits here and 10 touch buttons that we can use to increment and decrement. So here we can set 8, go 9, go 1, 2, 3, and then here we can go down for each one. And then we can also go up for each one. So, and then if we press save, that will send us back to the home screen, but I guess it's not a real city. So we can go back here and then we'll show the dynamic sizing. So for Chino, the zip code is 91708. So we'll go here, 91708, and we'll save that. And then now it'll say Chino. And then if we go back to San Luis Obispo, it's 93401. And then if we save that, it'll say City San Luis Obispo, and it'll wrap around to a next line. And I believe that is everything that we're supposed to show. Can you go back? Yeah, and then this is just the rehandling, so it doesn't look as awkward, or it doesn't just trail off the screen. So that is our demo for this part. So now we can go ahead and talk about our code for each project, or for each part.
So the first, the quote-unquote easy task that we had to complete was converting, when we press button A, it'll switch the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we have a Boolean is Celsius, which is automatically set to false at the top of our code. And we have a check right here where it checks if the last city does not equal the current city name. It'll just reconvert the Celsius amount, like the number, and it just does a check just to see if the city is changing, and if the city changes, it'll reconvert the Celsius temperature. And then if we go down here, this is where the actual conversion is happening. So we have an is Celsius Boolean check, and if it is true, then we do the conversion from temp now minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9, which is the conversion to Celsius. And then if it's not true, we just keep the current temp, which the default is Fahrenheit. And then we update the temperature now only if the temperature has changed, and it'll display it like this. And then it'll just do a check. If it's Celsius, it'll be C, and then if it's not, it's F for Fahrenheit. And then we also have the timestamp, which we get the formatted 12-hour time, which, let me click into the function here. So we get the raw time, which is the epoch time, which is the current time in a large amount of seconds. And then we convert that time into hours, minutes, and seconds. And we check if the time is past 12, it's PM. And then if it's not, it's default to AM. And then we also have a check for midnight case. And then we set the format that we want it to look. So we set the day, and then the hour, the minute, the second, and then we convert it to string and return the string. And where's it displayed?
Right there, update
Yeah.
timestamp.
And then we update the timestamp right here. And then the last sync is what we put because it's constantly syncing. And then
So we just put the sync time to
yeah.
string, and then we print that out. And then the next is an additional screen that you can go to manually. So for that, the function is actually right here. We call draw zip code screen. So I'll actually go down to the loop where that is called. So this essentially is just, there's a variable called current screen. So that's just checking to see if the string is equal to weather, or down here if it's equal to zip. So essentially we're just keeping track of the current screen and the last screen. If the current screen is weather, then we're just going to draw the weather display and set the last screen to weather. But for the zip code that we're talking about, we want to say that if button B was pressed, then we want to set the current screen to zip code and then the last screen to empty. So then when we go back, it'll instantly redraw. There were a couple lines like this where we just kind of had to mess around with it just to make sure that when you convert back and forth, it redraws immediately instead of having a delay. So that was just for optimization purposes. But yeah, here we set it so that when we click button B, it'll go to this screen, and then button A will go to this screen. I'm just taking a second now. Okay, but yeah, so then we set the current screen to zip code, and then if the current screen is zip code, then we want to draw a zip code screen, and we go in here, and then that's where we set the background to white, the background to black and the text color to white, and then we define the layout positions for all of our buttons, and then actually at the top up here is where I used the button class for M5 to create an array of up buttons. So it's just an array, and then it has 5 buttons that are instantiated for the up buttons, same exact thing for the down buttons, and then also 1 button for the save button. So let me go back down. I'll do that in a second. So yeah, draw zip code screen. Essentially we're just gonna iterate through each button and then draw the up buttons and the down buttons as triangle positions. And then we actually draw 3 different triangles to have a shadow, a border, and an inner arrow, so that when it goes on here, there's actually a little bit of, it's kind of hard to see on here, but there's a triangle, and then underneath it is a different colored triangle. So it kind of gives the look of like a box shadow. And then these are the button colors we use. Oh, that is way zoomed in. Okay. And then the save button right here, we have like an outer border, an inner button background color, and then a sort of pixel shadow effect that we used. This was how we kind of got this 8-bit looking button, sort of video game looking button. I thought that was pretty cool to get. And then it sends a message back to here. And then the text wrapping is in a draw weather display. So right here we get the text width. So we just kind of approximate the width per character in the name of the city. And then if the city name is within certain bounds, then we're just going to print the name as regular. Otherwise, if it's larger than essentially the length of the screen, or it will just split the name in half and then return it to a new string. And I think, is that all the code that we need? All right.
All the 4 functions.
And then we will include our source code. The only problem that we ran into is these bit images, where on the homepage I was trying to get the icon beforehand that was kind of up here to the far right to display right here. But we put it in the loop function where it was supposed to go, and it was just kind of, this screen would just kind of reload consistently, and so I wasn't really able to get that to work. But other than that, I mean, I think it works pretty good, and that's everything. So thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dr. Grissom.